Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Matilius258, and I apparently do not know how to start videos. Welcome to the Fractured Space update of August. There are quite a few very significant changes, plus 2 new ships, one of which is on the screen now, the USR Pioneer. So, quick overview of what happens in these videos. First, I go over everything that has changed in the game, which is basic, so like read the patch notes basically. After that, I will go into opinions and how I think it will affect the game in the future. However, I will also note that this is from the perspective of somebody who has just first glimpsed this. I have not used either of these ships yet. I have not really even fought against either of these ships yet, except for the Venturer. So this is just the perspective of just the average gamer. Okay? Good. Got it. Let's begin. Alright, so the August update mainly has three main big installments. The first two are ships, and the third is matchmaking. Now, first is the USR Pioneer. Now, the USR Pioneer is a new ship that is easily attainable. It only costs 4,000 XP to unlock and 36,000 to purchase, much like everything else in this line. Almost everything like this in the line. Sorry. As to what its abilities are, it mostly just includes being a straight-up mainline fighter as a ship. It has very decent damage potential, and it does quite well at making its presence known in the midst of a battle, which means that it is more suited to having support. It is more of a team-based kind of ship. Do not expect to survive without help, I would say. And take a quick look at everything it can do. The bombard cannon, it's its main cannon system. It does quite a bit of damage at a very nice range of 10,000 meters. I will always be using the optimal range because max range is, yes, plausible, but optimal range is kind of where you want to be thinking about everything. Do note that targeted damage does not include just basic bombard cannon damage. It is in tandem with the targeting beam, which allows you to pinpoint things more. The Pioneer also allows a reveal sector ability, which will allow your team to see the entire map, or see the entire placement of enemy ships within the entire lane, so like the A lane, the B lane, the G lane, at the cost of you get revealed, which makes sense considering the name of Pioneer. Attack drones and Merlin missiles, pretty straightforward. Missiles and drones. So yeah, next is the Venturer from the Zarek line. Let's have a nice look. Okay. The Zarek Venturer, wrong line, is again in the one line of the trees, whatever that means. 4,000 to unlock, 36,000 to purchase. Again, it's actually quite similar, but and different at the same time. Decent ship, definitely kind of. It is mainline-ish, but it definitely needs support. It is a versatile ship. It can adapt to a situation very well, which means it's also unfocused. Specialized in everything, a jack of all trades. And I will show you by looking at some of the modules that you can look forward to facing against using. Mining laser. Very, very weak alpha damage. However, over time and the frequency of each blast, it does quite a bit of damage. However, using the Stonecracker allows you to strip away armor, which means the mining laser does more damage. It has a heal and defend pulse. This is where I come into saying it'd be very good for team-based. This will take out missiles, plus it will heal your allies within the area. So in other words, you become a sort of corvette slash disruptor fixer or ship, but you are unfocused as you can affect everybody. 20% maximum heal of the maximum, 20% of the ship's maximum health points restored instantly. That is what that means. So that's always nice. Missiles and a shielding buoy. The shielding buoy acts as a kind of bubble, much like how you have on the Corvette, however much smaller, with, I believe, at 33.33%, a much less defensive kind of bubble. Yeah. Bubble. It is not nearly as effective and is stationary. However, you can fire it, so it does provide some tactical use through defense. Now, before I go into matchmaking, I have to mention something about these two new ships. They introduce something very interesting and very new. The Pioneer and Venture use weapon pairing. Now what that means is it's a new kind of playstyle that people have to learn now when using these ships. The gist of it is, you must use at least 2 weapons together for either of them to be of any use whatsoever. For example, if you look at it, the bombard cannon and the targeting beam are practically one weapon. Using just the bombard cannon is possible and you will do damage, but not nearly as much as with the targeting beam, as its sole purpose is to double your damage. The Merlin missiles and attack drones, the way they fire and the way they work, requires that they be used in tandem due to the Merlin missiles being a slow firing kind of missile but with a bit of alpha damage, meaning you need to use your attack drones to kind of soak up the damage from enemy flak, or else your Merlin missiles are more or less just going to be shot down and you have to wait an extra, 30 seconds before they can be fired yet again, which in the middle of a battle where this Pioneer will be is definitely going to be a problem. However, I would not want to meet a pilot that is well versed in this. The Venture, same thing. The eventual Titan ship that will appear eventually, I have a feeling it will have the same idea, weapon pairing. Keep that in mind. So, with the 2 new ships out of the way, we go on to a very, very weighted for feature in the game, and that is matchmaking. So matchmaking in the game simply works like it used to do before. You launch the game, or you click launch, you bring up the server list, and you would click on anything that has the status of warm-up. They have gotten rid of the status in progress where you can join it. It is only warm-up. And this is how the matchmaker works. I should have a visual up on here. You will click the launch button. At this point you will be sent into the server that you have selected. It will try and find 10 people that it can use in the server, put them on a 5x5 basis with equal-ish kind of level of play through the game mechanics, and will even out the teams in that way, making it sort of fair for each team. After this point, it will then connect you to the game. You'll be in the game, and your ship and you will be stuck there. After that point, leaving the game, say, because you're losing, for example, is no longer a possibility. And your team will, in fact, suffer for it. You can, however, if you are disconnected, you can join back into the game, but it's only if you're disconnected. If you purposely quit the game, it will be considered you forfeiting your points and whatnot, look bad on your reputation, whatever that means to you, and you will not be able to help your team at that point. So yeah. However, there are things to note. Number one, Steam Friend Network, I guess that'd be what you could call it, is now what they're using to make kind of squads, if you want. This is its social implementation of putting in teams, so you're no longer trying to get into the same server and try, after that point, to try and get on the same team. You now spawn into the same server with your teammate through Steam. If you want proof for how they're actually using this, my icon in the top left corner up here has changed to my usual symbol that I use normally for my Steam account. So, proof. Yeah. Also, in case you're wondering, AFK players, they will still be booted, and at that point, since you can't spawn into games, your team of 4 to 5 will get extra buffs to compensate for the difference in player number. So if you die, it takes less time to respawn. That kind of thing. However, with the new kind of matchmaking and game implementation system for when you actually enter a match, there is a new option to surrender. The surrender option is a questionnaire that more or less goes out to your entire team, at which point it can be answered as yes or no, and your entire team will surrender and more or less forfeit the match, but will not incur a abandonment penalty. Think of it as you surrender, you lose the game, not you surrender, you forfeit all your points. However, it is anonymous. There is a cooldown for when you personally can throw up the surrender button to avoid spamming, which I think is a wonderful idea, because I can definitely see people trying to spam this. After that point, there are a few graphics changes. Simply just to make the eye candy look better. First off, your hanger looks different. Just thought I'd point that out. Next, there have been a few skins added to the game to spruce up your ship for the price of platinum, whatever that may be, called the Nesso series for the USRs, and other different collections for specific ships. This is the Sniper's Nesso. Next is the flagships. And the Brawler, I'm going to make a note here, actually does not have an Nesso skin. It has a kind of... what is it that it says? Taurus Legendary Skin, which makes it look orange and whatnot, and also changes the actual design of the ship. Next, the Assassin. Kind of a camouflagey kind of look to it, to kind of fit in with the whole secret assassin kind of thing. The Destroyer. And the Disruptor. So far, I quite like the Disruptors because it's got those wonderful little red highlights around here. It's quite nice. There are a few other ships that have been added as skins, sorry, that have been added to the Zarek line as well. The Zarek Enforcer has a legendary skin much like the Brawler, making it yellow, I guess? Yellow and red? Yeah. Other than that is a whole bunch of smaller fixes that are ship specific. At this point, I would recommend you go and look personally at the patch notes to see what has changed. At this point of the video, all new, very important things have been said. It is now my opinions on what the game will be like from now on. So, first thing, of course, is just the ships. What are they like? How do I think they're going to play? Well, the Pioneer, I guess I've more or less said this, it's a frontline kind of ship. It uses weapon pairing because that's just what they're going for with these new ships, and it does have some very nice potential for its damage. It has a very nice DPS by the looks of it. It's got an added amount of skill required if you want to be able to time, say, the Merlin missiles and the attack drones correctly. You have to be able to position yourself well enough so that you're no longer being completely bombarded from every angle possible. However, I see this being a very, very interesting play, as the ship has no way of repairing itself, unlike the Venturer, because it's just a damage dealer, if you will. So it would require a Corvette or Disruptor or something that can provide repairs for the ship for it to be actually any good, which is interesting because it makes the ship vulnerable over time, and it also makes it so it can't solo an entire lane and just destroy everything. Everyone's, eventually at least, will have no health. For playing it, I can think of several problems with that, mainly just trying to stay alive in an attrition style situation. Defensively, I don't see this playing very well. I see it as a very offensive kind of ship. It doesn't scream defense to me, which would be a problem if you're being heavily pushed on one flank, for example. At which point I would think it would just simply be overpowered, and over time, as it is a push, you'd just simply be destroyed. So I don't see it having any defensive capabilities that compensate for its extreme offensive capabilities. Now, for the Venturer, I see it as being a jack-of-all-trades kind of ship. It's unfocused, but if one thing, it at least provides a little bit more potential for being used in fleet-based kind of play. So if you have a team where you're talking to them, it definitely serves a very nice role, much like the Corvette with its bubble ability. But as a defensive ship, definitely more so. As an offensive ship, it does have a nice amount of damage. It does spew out damage, but it doesn't do nearly as much as it could. But balancing wise, I would say it's perfectly done, with a few tweaks here and there at the moment within the game. Its healing ability, I think, is definitely needing some adjustments at the moment, just because of how, if it's meant to be fleet-based and you're constantly healing 20% of the maximum health of a ship, then all of a sudden a level, if I can think right, 5? No, 5. I'm just going to go with 5. A level 5 flagship with 20,000 health. 20% of that is a fifth. 4,000 health was instantly added in that 1 second that has to be removed. Which, for your team, great, which is where I can see how this would be a very valuable ship in team-based play. For the enemy team, if it's team-based play they're going against, then they're in for a really bad time. If it's solo and he's more or less just firing it because he wants to heal himself as well, then I don't see it actually being a problem. I can see this being a situational ship, much like, say, I want to say something like the carrier and the infiltrator? Yeah, because they're not necessarily the best ships, they're not necessarily all that great on their own, they really require you to be in a team for them to be of any effect or use. The carrier's actually just not that good. And the infiltrator, again, relies on team-based play. So, yeah, think of it kind of on those lines for its reception. Pioneer, I think, will have a better reception just because it's more straightforward and you can use it in a solo fashion. So that's gameplay, that's what, so far that's all I think. Other than that, it's more or less easier for you to be able to be in squad, so team-based play is just more or less going to be the same. So, I don't expect anything new there. However, and this might just be because I had my settings messed up or something, I don't know. But the update, I think, messed with the graphics as well. So my ships and environment too all seems really, really bright. I even turned down my brightness to about 20% and it still seems pretty bright. Shadows seem to be going off the fritz or something. I don't feel darkness at all. But that is a personal thing, of course, so yeah. Take with that what you will. As to bugs for the thing, I haven't found any yet, so that's always nice. So that's it for the August update 2015 with the exploration ships, basically, with the names they have. My name is Matilius258. Thank you for watching, and I really do hope I can shoot you someday in the future. Hope you found this video helpful. The patch notes will be in the description below. Have a nice day. What time is it now? It's 1:30 in the morning. Have a nice morning.